Israel put out their Palestinian casualty figures, and it kind of tracks with the Gaza Ministry of Health. And Hamas claims responsibility for an attack in the West Bank that they say is a response to 2 kids that were killed yesterday in Jenin. What's going on, everyone? Let's take a look at some updates as it relates to the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas. I'm recording this at 9 a.m. Central on Thursday, November 30th, 2023. Israeli website Ynet says that between 5,000 and 6,000 Hamas terrorists have so far been killed in the war since October 7th, with a more accurate figure being thrown out there of 5,300. They say among the dead are 3 Hamas brigade commanders, 14 generals, and dozens of company commanders. In total, they say the security establishment estimates that 15,000 Palestinians have so far been killed in the war, with thousands more missing. Now, that number, 15,000 Palestinians killed, tracks exactly in line with what the Gaza Health Ministry has been putting out. Now, one thing that we don't know here is just how loose the description is of a Hamas terrorist in the eyes of Israel. So, a guy wearing military kit, firing a rocket into Israeli territory, got it. That one's easy. But, does that extend out, the definition terrorist, Hamas terrorist, does that extend out to all military-aged males? Or does it extend to men and women that could be viewed as sympathetic to the Hamas cause? It's just, something to keep in mind. That level of detail isn't quite clear. Then there was an attack in Jerusalem earlier today that Hamas has claimed credit for. Reports as of now are that 3 people were killed and 7 wounded when 2 Hamas gunmen exited their vehicle by a bus stop and opened fire on a crowd of civilians at close range. So Hamas again claimed responsibility for this attack, praising Murad and Ibrahim Namir as the 2 men who carried it out. Both of those men were killed by Israeli forces shortly thereafter. Hamas says that these 2 men carried out this attack in response to Israel's killing of women and children in the West Bank and Gaza, and for the violation of female prisoners in Israeli prisons. In another statement, they said that this was in retaliation for children shot in Jenin yesterday. What that's in reference to is that the IDF wrapped up a 15-hour operation yesterday in Jenin in the West Bank, where videos emerged of 2 children being killed. Adam Samer Al-Ghul, 8, and Basil Abu Al-Wafa, 15, both shown here, were confirmed to have been killed during the course of that operation. Now, it's being presented a couple different ways from each side. I wish I could say that there was some independent third-party investigation that would go in and dial in all the facts and we get exactly what happened. It's not realistic. That's just not going to happen. So from what I've seen, there was some CCTV footage put out. It's pretty graphic. Not going to show it here. It's all over Twitter and Telegram if interested. But it shows the 2 children being shot, but it's not, the screen's not wide enough, or the camera angle is not wide enough to show where those rounds came from and who actually fired those shots. There was earlier footage that came out from a different angle that showed one of the children may have been lighting something like a firecracker to throw at Israeli forces, which means that he may have been deemed in that situation in the middle of a military operation as a threat. But again, I did not see any AKs, RPGs, anything like that the kids were carrying around. Look, again, we're probably not going to get some independent third-party assessment of this. At the end of the day, the tragedy here is that 2 more children were killed. Now, the truce between Israel and Hamas was extended for another day, but it was right down to the wire, with both sides making public statements that they were ready to begin fighting as soon as that time expired. So yesterday, with this extension, 16 hostages were released by Hamas in exchange for 30 Palestinians held in Israeli custody. That brings the total to 97 hostages released by Hamas for 210 Palestinian prisoners released over the past 7 days. Now, we did start to get the first significant reports from these hostages about their time in captivity yesterday when Israeli Channel 13 had a reporter cite that one of them said he was held in an attic by a teacher from the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestinian Refugees. He said the man was a father of 10 who kept the hostages locked away and barely provided food or medical attention. And then another hostage said that she interacted with Yahya Sinwar, the head of Hamas in Gaza, which is a pretty significant event, all things considered. She said that while she was in the tunnels, he came there a couple times during the first 3 or 4 days after their arrival, but overall he was pretty silent. Whereas another hostage said that Sinwar did address them as a group, saying that they were safe and that nothing would happen to them while they were in Hamas captivity. Now, in terms of this ceasefire either being extended or coming to a close anytime now, it's clear that both sides are ready, or at very least preparing for the fighting to continue. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu put out a statement saying, quote, "In the last few days, I hear a question. Will Israel return to fighting after this phase of returning our hostages is exhausted? So my answer is unequivocal. Yes. There is no way we are not going back to fighting until the end. This is my policy. The entire cabinet stands behind it. The entire government stands behind it. The soldiers stand behind it. The people stand behind it. And that is exactly what we will do, end quote. And a similar sentiment, more on the tactical level, was put out by Hamas yesterday, where they said, quote, the Al-Qassam brigades, the militant wing of Hamas, asked its active forces to maintain high combat readiness in the last hours of the truce in anticipation of renewed fighting in the event that it is not renewed, and to remain on that unless an official statement is issued confirming the extension of the truce, end quote. Then yesterday, U.S. CENTCOM put out that the USS Carney shot down an Iranian-made Houthi-launched drone in the Red Sea. The Navy added that this drone was headed towards the U.S. vessel when it was intercepted. Now, from what we've seen so far, this looks like a KAS-04 UAV, also known as the Samad-3, which has a range up to 1,500 kilometers and can carry an explosive warhead. So again, this model of drone is manufactured by Iran and has been in use by a bunch of their proxies all around the Middle East, including the Yemen Houthis, where this one is believed to have originated from. Then earlier today, just about an hour before I started recording, something went boom in Yemen. It's not exactly clear what that is quite yet. There's videos and pictures coming out showing smoke billowing out of a facility. There were some reports that this may have been a weapons storage facility, which opens that up, right? It could have been an accident. Can't discount that entirely. Weapon storage is a dangerous business. But also possible at this point that after Yemen, after the Houthis in Yemen more specifically, have been launching multiple strikes against Israel and some potentially against U.S. forces in the Red Sea, entirely possible that there was some sort of retaliatory strike against Houthi infrastructure. Again, that is not confirmed, still waiting for a lot of information to come out on that front. But that's all I got for now. Of course, if interested in national security subjects, be sure to check out the sit-reps I put out on Substack. Link is in the description below. Substack now also has ad-free, sponsor-free videos that go live about 1 hour before they're up on YouTube. But thanks for watching. I'll see y'all next time.